Hello and good morning. How are you? I am Chuck Tomasi from ServiceNow, bringing you another live community streaming session where I go through a bunch of stuff on the ServiceNow community and share my thoughts, what goes through my head, solve some of your problems, answer some of your questions, and we'll see how much we can get done in an hour or so, maybe two if we've got time this morning. Just checking to make sure that the streams are up. If you are watching this live or you're watching this later, well, if you're watching this live, say hi in the community, say hi in YouTube. I'm also on Twitch. I'll put the URLs up in a little bit, but love to hear from you. If you do have a question related to ServiceNow, the platform, the custom applications, integrations, put those in the community that you see behind you. That can be found at community.servicenow.com. There we are. And I will do my best. I can't answer everything, but given the time that I've got and the skill sets that I've got, I'll see if I can get to that. What else do we have? The streams seem to be up and running. Got a couple people watching. Thank you for joining me. This is the live streaming community time. Let's go into, that's me. Let's get rid of the titles and let's get right into this. So make my head much smaller. I was looking at the schedule. Last week I wasn't able to do shows because of travel on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, but I am back. Everything seemed to be working technically on this end. Let's get the community going. This week looks like it's going to be a much more sane schedule. So with any luck, I'll have 5 shows in this week. So keep your eyes open. If you are subscribed to the YouTube channel, you'll obviously get an alert that says, hey, we're now streaming something. So thanks for joining. This is the live community stream. I'm Chuck Tomasi from ServiceNow, going through some questions. If there aren't any on here that I can answer, I will go into my inbox and respond to things from earlier. So I did have one earlier, how to get customized response body from REST API, and there wasn't a whole lot of information in there. So I asked and said, what are we trying to do here? It's often interesting when somebody asks for a technical solution and they don't really tell you what they're trying to do. We have configured inbound using transform maps, stuck with respect to outbound to pass the values to third-party tool. They are using a mid server, I assume, in which they validate the status of values being captured inbound and outbound. Could you brief the steps to configure the outbound REST API? Also, if any additional information which help us, please do provide the same. Appreciate your help. Now, I know with the direct table requests, you get the response as the values that have been saved. With import API, that's interesting. Let's go and try something with the REST API Explorer. Haven't looked at that because I don't know what you get with an import set API. Let's just try this out. Instead of the table API, let's do the import set API. And I don't believe I have a import set table. Let's find out. We'll have to come back to the REST API Explorer in a second. Data source transform maps import sets. Do I have one for the incident table? Don't think so. No, that's for a different table. So what happens if we just try and stick a record in there? Let's do that again. REST API, not reset. Come on. Slow browser, take a drink. We're going to turn this back into a drinking game. Good morning, Mr. TV. Good to see you again. REST API, one space. API Explorer. Namespace. Import set API. Let's retrieve an import set record, get it. So let's do this. Got to give the staging table name. All right, so in the API, we have to provide the staging table name. So what is my staging table name? I'm going to favorite that so I don't have to keep coming back to it. import sets. Transform, import set tables, schedule cleanup, sys choice, sys documentation, sys translated, import set tables. So that import set, data sources, transform maps, scheduled imports. You know what? Let's just create one real quick. Let's create one real quick. Table. We'll go to tables. System definition. Come on. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Mobile UI, workflow. Oh, for crying out loud. Tables. Sometimes this filter doesn't always do what expect. Reports, system archiving, system clone, system definition, tables. There we go. And let's create a new table. And in order for this to be an import set table, it needs to extend. So let's just call this incident import. That's a nice name. Extends. I believe it's imports. No, it's not import set row. It's rats. I don't remember. I'm gonna have to look. So we had one in here. This is where my brain forgets and I just start doing pure research. So I had one in the import sets, and this one, safety issues. Let's leave that. Let's find out what the table definition looks like for that. List v2, I don't want that. Configure. Table doesn't tell you where it's extended from, but it should tell us, should tell us the table name, which we can go look in tables. So there's my table name. Import template, safety issue. Even though that was done through an easy import, where I imported a spreadsheet directly, I didn't create an import set. Behind the scenes, it creates an import set table. Extends table, import set row. Okay, that is what I needed. So let's go create a new table. Might even... Excuse me. That was fun. Table, new record. I like this little history icon. If you don't use that, you might want to get used to using that a little bit more. Okay, incident import. Extends sys import, import set row. And I don't necessarily need a module for that. Let's save a little real estate on the menu. Save that. And now I should be able to pick uIncidentImport as my table in the REST API Explorer. Bit of a way around to do that. So the API name is going to be the import set API. We'll take the latest. Let's do a create record on incident import. There it is. Very good. That worked. And we don't need any query parameters, but let's use the builder to say short description. Oh, it doesn't have a short description. Oh, there's a format to this, isn't there? You know what? Let's just hit send, see what happens. Record created. And we get back a response body that tells me what the import set is, the transform map, the error, and invalid table. That's interesting. Staging table. Maybe I didn't do a target table. There's more to these things than I'm doing with the import set API. I should probably read the documentation a little closer on what you need to supply. But what was the question anyway? Oh, we have this. Okay. And what is the, they want the results back from what was imported. That one sounds like it's going to be more of a scripted REST API. I don't think the import set API is going to give them what they want based on what I've seen. Based on what I've seen. through some quick experimentation. So this is what the show's all about. I go in and I pick something apart, and if I don't know the answer, I try and find out. So you know not only what I know, but how I know what I know. Sorry, that's a direct ripoff from one of my favorite podcasts called Astronomy Cast. Credit where credit's due. I didn't make that up. I don't think the import set API is going to give you what you need here. It returns information about the import set record itself. If you want the exact results of the, go to docs real quick, find info on the scripted REST API. Kingston. Sounds like it just summoned somebody. Kingston, come here, boy. Scripted REST API. You're never going to be able to hear that name again the same way, are you? Copy that link of the record created / updated. I have to go with a scripted REST API, which gives you total control over the inputs, request parameters, and outputs, response, payload. There we go. Hey, we got one. Help on tool. So there's this video that John Anderson had made about 3 years ago. At least I think it's John Anderson's voice. We'll bring that up. And there's a point in there where they said, hey, he clicks some Chrome extension and fills out a little form, and it magically puts something in there. What was he using? We do have our research team who is looking for the same kind of application. We have our own ServiceNow tool, so it would be helpful to know how they have done that implementation. Our own research team is looking for the same kind of application. So look here at about 1833, they say. 15, 16, 17, 18. This little window pops up. And it looks like some sort of Chrome extension. Now, I don't know who My ServiceNow Videos is, but see, they pull up that. And they're saying, what is that? There's a nice little window there. There's a wiki, there's selected text. That is a Chrome extension. Researcher comments, and they assign it to Brad, add some comments, and where does it go? Maybe if we know where it goes, we can find out what is happening here. Watching people type in real time. What a concept. Okay, and I don't know what it did. Okay, they selected some text and where did it go? Ah, internet research. It apparently sent it to an endpoint here. That might be a little applet. See, I can tell this is old because that's like the UI from Eureka, which would put this about 2014. Don't know what that was. Maybe let me see if I can copy that. Copy that. Who is My ServiceNow Videos? Kind of hard to tell. We just have a picture of the Now button, guys. I don't know who this is, so I can't reach out to them. A very good question. Do our research team was looking for the same kind of application? We have our own ServiceNow tool. FYI, don't refer to ServiceNow as a tool. It's a platform. I'm not being pedantic. That's an actual factual statement. Don't know who that is. Hopefully, because they made the same comment on YouTube, they will see your comment on YouTube and respond. Okay, anything else? Nothing new there. Anything new here? And it is 1/4 after. Thanks for watching. This is a live community stream where I, Chuck Tomasi, go through and answer questions in the community as quickly as I can, as accurately as I can. If I don't know the answer, I will do a little bit of research like we just did with the REST API and see what we can find out. Failed authenticating using authentication code. External credential storage. How do we create multiple jar files? Default cost planning, service groups showing multiple times in event management dashboard. Let's start with the authentication code. I just learned something this weekend about authentication. Let's see if it's even close. Trying to authenticate through OAuth to my instance using authentication code. Did you generate access denied, error, server error, my flow? I configured my instance using the authentication server. OAuth to response type code. Click on allow. I see a new token is generated. Manage tokens limited for 1 minute for an unknown reason. When I try to use this token to authenticate, I fail. That is a new feature in Istanbul or Jakarta. I have not used that yet. So unfortunately, I can't answer that, but I do want to learn more about it. So I'm going to follow that in my inbox, which is like subscribing to it. And you know what? Let's see what has come in unreplied over the last few hours. Hi, Tom. Hi, Tom. I need to email to be fired when a task is assigned to a group. That sounds plausible. Let's take a look at that real quick. A task will be created, and when it is being assigned to a specific group, SD_group, then the notification should get triggered. I have created email notification for that. What else I need to create to support this? Can I elaborate? So when the assignment group is blah and assignment group changes. You probably shorten that up to just as it changes to. Hurry. You can shorten that condition up to assignment group changes to group name. Let's see, they did inserted, and that should be it. Should be it. Make sure that you, let's see, I see you have the inserted checkbox checked. Try that again, inserted checkbox checked. Don't forget to also check the updated checkbox. So future updates to the record where it gets assigned to that group also get triggered. Don't want to miss the future updates. Okay, that was a pretty easy one. What else do we have? Dashboard event management, ITOM. Not big into ITOM. I've done a little bit with service mapping a few years ago, but even that knowledge is starting to get rusty. But did some with discovery as well. Good morning, viewers on YouTube. I don't see anybody currently viewing on Twitch, but hey, to each his own. Twitch his own. Just made that up. Couldn't tell. Service portal, update ticket activity stream to approval activity stream and back. Ticket activity stream to approval activity. That sounds like a business rule. Doesn't sound like it's too much specific to Service Portal, but hey, I've been wrong on subjects before. Is there a way for this example? When a user submits a request, he gets a ticket in the Service Portal and can write comments in the activity stream. If there is an approval connected to that request, I want the comments to be updated in the approval activity stream in Service Portal. And if approval wants to reply, I want the reply to be posted as comments to the request item. And this without looping message to and back and forth these two. Oh, I see. Because if you modify one, it's going to say, hey, I updated the other. And that'll trigger a business rule to say, oh, I got to go update the other one and get it back and forth. Is that possible anyway? I managed to push comments from request items to approval and from approval to request item, but how to do without getting a major loop? Your business rule is going to have to be smart enough. Is going to have to be smart enough to know it is updating the comments only. In that case, take a look at the client record method. Set workflow false. It tells all workflow and business rules do not run after this. So you won't get a loop. Be careful and test. This could impact your other business rules and workflow if they are part of the larger process triggered from this commentary business rule. There we go. Start with that. Okay. Got a response back here. Help on tool. Thanks, Chuck. But people who were asked very long time back did not get any answer to the question in the video comment. So could you please help me to know soon so that I can approach my company to buy that plugin? It would be very much helpful. I don't have anything else to offer without knowing the original author. I don't have anything else to offer. I don't recognize the Chrome extension. Well, hey, let's do a little bit of Chrome extension research. It might be a custom-made thing. Quick research Chrome extension. Sure, why not? Let's take a look. Allows you to make quick research without making a new tab. Hey, look, a video. View that full screen? No, not here. They're doing a little search. Doesn't look like the same thing that we saw in the video a little while ago. Anybody in the community recognize this? Or anybody watching live? I showed the video a little while ago. And show it again. But effectively, they were on the wiki and they highlighted some text, did a right click on here on Chrome, and opened up an extension. See, I don't even have any that I can show here. And they sent a REST request over to ServiceNow. So maybe that's a better thing to search for. Search the store. REST. It wasn't the REST client. I recognize that. I've used yet another REST client. That's not the one that I saw. Extensions? Nope. Nope. I just don't recognize it. So maybe somebody recognizes something. Ben Stewart, UI policy on conditions script. From 10 months ago, recent comment 3 days ago. Hi Bradley, did you find what you're looking for? I like the simpler policy where work notes are mandatory on change. Okay. Making a comment to a discussion that I haven't been involved with in months. Andrew McDonald. 4 days ago, matches regex or matches pattern. And 8 replies, this discussion's pretty well underway. Hey, C. Tomasi, I submitted this issue as a question on the MariaDB site and got an interesting response. I don't know anything about ServiceNow, but neither match pattern or match regex are valid MariaDB syntax. See regular expression functions. So we got every requirement. Let's see. I missed something in here somewhere. I have a requirement to filter ServiceNow on the 5th and 6th positions of a server name. This is in Helsinki and on a reference field with the record producer. It seems to get either matches pattern or matches regex to work. Oh, I can't seem to get those to work. I haven't had the best of luck either. And when I went to our developers asking for more information, I didn't get a whole lot. I get a lot of SQL MySQL errors. What's the trick? Why do I have matches pattern and matches regex available if I can't use them? Exactly. I agree, I can't get this to work. And it gets down to me. It says, yeah. Wish I had more information on these. I ran into this myself, but didn't get much back from our developers on what the syntax is, when to use each, and what they are for. It might be more impactful. It will be more impactful if you create an enhancement request to get the docs updated accordingly. Means more from customers. Yet an enhancement request out there. Link to the enhancement request, and away we go. Okay, good. Good morning. I know it's early for some of you. Good afternoon for others. Let's go back up here. Clean out the inbox. How do I get customized response from request body? We get, thanks for the quick response. Requirement is to create outbound on incident table. Stuck with the business rule which triggers outbound on incident table. Can you provide any reference business rule scripts for triggering outbound REST API? Okay. Okay. I thought you wanted the response from the import set action. Sorry for the confusion. The business rule for outbound. That's interesting. Well, it's going to be async. Let's check. Outbound output. How about outbound REST? I don't have any examples that I can share here. Or do I? Did I publish anything? I'm thinking. I've got my dash buttons do import, scripted REST API. I don't think I published my CASA buttons yet. I I don't know of a Git repo that I can share right now. Scripted up on rest service. REST message elements. Create a REST message. And we should also get the developer site with the REST message v2 API. That will help. Okay. Back to the inbox. Outbound. REST messages aren't too difficult in general. Depends how complex the other end makes them. Headers can trip you up if you're not careful. I recommend starting by creating an outbound REST message and test it before adding it to a script. Once tested, you can then use the REST message v2 class to call your script, to call your outbound REST message and get the response back. Okay, so create a REST message. System web services new, yep, endpoint, that's the one. And REST message v2. API constructor, there it is, that's the one. I don't have an example. Come on, come on. That's the one. Not sure how I got on Jakarta, but anyway. And the browser's gone crazy again. Okay, back to the unanswered. Let's see if anything's come in recently. Issue with setting value in decimal field in business rule. How to list reports included in a dashboard. Poor performance due to version of IE, failed authentication using authentication code. Let's see what's been happening here. Take a quick break. Slow browser, take a drink. Hello all, I'm trying to set a decimal field in a business rule, but don't know what exactly is wrong. Are we doing a parse float? What is the type of U level 3 name average comp? U level 3 name, values above. Trying to set a value in a decimal field, but don't know exactly what is going wrong. Maybe something elementary which I am missing above. So is there a set value? The tables have a string value of level 3 name. This is why I use display values above. So level 1 is a parent level function. Get a record. Level 3 country query. Amounts is comp. Trying to set values in this field. Getting unidentified here. Average comp. Was average comp set before? Oh, comp.u level 3 average comp to string. This is getting printed successfully. This is getting undefined. So he's getting into this block, which means he gets his record. U level 3 name average comp. Yeah, that's an interesting one. Let's see what it comes back with. I'm going to follow that one. So I'm not seeing anything syntactically wrong. Not seeing anything that is functionally wrong. So I'll follow that. How to list reports included in a dashboard. I thought there was a sys dashboard. Is there a way to display dashboards and the corresponding elements, reports that are part of those dashboards? I have examined the following tables of information about dashboards, tabs, reports. However, I do not see an easy way to display dashboards and corresponding reports. Not really. What's the objective here? What is the business requirement here? Normally, people put stuff on dashboards and don't give it a second thought. Are you having issues with something? Could be just curiosity, you never know. All right, back to the unanswered. It is just past half past the hour. I'm Chuck Tomasi. Thanks for watching on the live stream. This is a live community stream that I do when I'm home, when I'm available, and when it's not a holiday. This is a little insight as to how I get to some of the answers that I get to, so maybe you can employ some of these same techniques and tips. One thing that I do want to mention that I use quite frequently is my personal developer instance. You can get a personal developer instance over at developer.servicenow.com and play around with some of these concepts, test things, use it as a sandbox. There's learning paths over there, all the scripting APIs that I showed a minute ago, like here are, that's doc, sorry, over here. Content doesn't match your instance for Kingston. Well, let's fix that. Let's go to Kingston. It's even versioned, so if something is not available in a release, you won't see it. It's nice and concise. Lots of other information that goes down the side. Scoped and legacy. If you're playing around with global applications, you can find them there. So take a look. Go over to developer.servicenow.com. So older thread from a couple of years ago, G Scratchpad versus Glide Record. Discussion came back up a little few days ago. As per Chuck Tomasi's conversation, I understand is using G Scratchpad as an array of some object. Generally, when we open some record, it will open only the fields that were added to the view. If you want to show any of the remaining fields, you need to call a script include from Glide Ajax and have to return some values from the script include to display the same to the end user. Instead of using all these Glide Ajax and script include, I suggest using G Scratchpad to write in the display business rule, so that while the display business rule is being executed, you can set the values in G Scratchpad and can access them on the form in the display rule. Okay, so this, wow, responding to something 2 years ago. Pretty amazing. Good on you. Raj, 6 days ago, trying to count the number of work orders. I did respond to this briefly. He says, hi, the table names here are case and work order. We create work orders. He's asking, how can I, trying to count the number of work orders created for XYZ case types and to update the count to XYZ fields automatically. So the table names are case and work order. We create work orders for the case. There are 3 types of work orders: field intervention, remote intervention, and partner intervention. For these 3 types of work orders, we have a field called type on work order form. That was a drop-down list field. Coming to the scenario where we have to create 3 fields of integer type on the case form, which were used for reporting purposes and not visible on the form. Field intervention count, remote intervention count, partner intervention count. Each field should provide count of work order related type. By default, it should be as null. If you're just counting, then create a business rule. Create a business rule on the child records, which are going to be the integer type on the case form, or excuse me, on the work order, because that's a child record. Work order form, record, table, there we go. Such that when a record changes type or is created, you look up all related. You do use glide aggregate to get all related work orders for that case. Count them by group and or type. Was it type? Yes. Count them, group them by type. Group them by type and update the case fields by the results retrieved. There is an example of this in the glide aggregate page, which is conveniently over here. Glide aggregate. Best way of counting that I know. Did I do a tech now on glide aggregate? I should one of these days. Okay. Issue and setting value. Deepak. Haven't heard from Deepak in a while. All right. Table of string values. This is getting pretty successfully, getting undefined here. I'm not seeing an answer in here. Current U average loaded compensation USD. Trying to set values in this field. If comp next. I'm not seeing. Okay, that looked like they was just copy and pasted code. I'm not seeing any answer in there. Confusing. Make sure that if you do post an answer that it is clear to the reader what you did and what you propose. How can I read a particular field value from an email in email integration? Let's take a look at that. Enable mandatory field on change of choice list except if changing from empty. Visual board. Let's take a look at that. So how can I read a particular field value from an email with an email integration? I want to read an email where I have a field in the mail from monitoring tool. Please suggest I need to read the value job name. And I need to read the value marked in red. Okay. Looks like you could do a parse on the no flag. So it's all going to be in the body of the message. The entire body of the message can be found in email.body. You can then run any set of parsing methods, e.g. split, looping, excuse me, regex, etc. to extract that. Enable mandatory field. I'm using the below onChange script to set work notes as mandatory when assigned group changes, but I want this only to run after the first assignment If assignment group is empty, then changes do not run the policy. I want this to only be run after first assignment. Oh, okay. If his loading is new value is empty, return. If old value equals new value, then set mandatory. Well, how about if old value? Hi, Ben. Right after the first, right after the first if block is this. If old value equals return. There you go. How can I prevent particular user from moving ticket to a particular status in visual task board? Good question. I don't know if VTB does that. The whole point is so you can move things around easily. Do you already have ACLs for this condition? VTB doesn't have any specific configuration to allow deny specific actions. Configurations doesn't have any configuration options. Let's do that. Doesn't have any configuration options at this point to allow slash deny access to specific people, groups, etc. I recommend taking a look at your ACLs in this case and then check how VTB behaves. Here are some, some links in case you haven't dealt with ACLs before. All right, what else do we have? Ooh, David jumped in right after I did. Yep, that's a good way to do it too. Instead of returning after the original if. Search groups, search groups, search groups. I'm trying to configure search groups to return these case calls. And they got the calls in there by searching on two results for call. Here, call do not displaying any call number. So looking for call blah, 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 1013. They say two results, but it's not responding with the results here. Interesting. Don't know. Don't know. We'll keep an eye on that one. I learn, you learn, we all learn. Thank you for the response to the sneeze. Is there a way to hide the non-suggested relationship in relations editor? Ooh, suggestion relationships. I haven't looked at those in a long, long time. Need to hide all the relationship types that are now suggested in CMDB. I think this should be not suggested in CMDB. Someone with more ITSM knowledge than I can come in and get that. Enable mandatory field, except when changing from empty. Another person jumping in. Short scripting ones seem to be very popular on the community, if you haven't noticed. The old value is blank. You don't want to set it to mandatory. That goes against, that's opposite of what he asked for. Well, let's keep looking. If I can't find anything, a couple of new ones. We just read that one. Is there a way to hide non-suggestive? Is there a way to prevent users from changing filter on same person? Sounds like the same question. Very similar question. Let's go to unreplied. Maybe there's something from last night I can pull out in the last 10 minutes or so here today. Thank you for watching on the live stream. If you're just joining, my name is Chuck Tomasi from ServiceNow. I don't know what I am this morning. I am focused. Copy of out-of-box service portal, not translating. That's interesting. Let's take a look at that real quick. How to summarize changes to an HTML field. Summarize changes. I'm looking for like change bars. We need to normalize manufacturer field only and not company field in CMDB server table. How can I configure intermediate page in mobile? Approval summarizer on service portal, availability group resource, fetch folder name from path. That sounds like a regex thing. Recommended patch for Istanbul release, the latest. How to display order guide short description. Shazam Pro. Let's see. Copy of out. Let's just take a few of these apart for the next few minutes. See what we get. Could not see this covered anywhere else. Why is it that when a copy is taken to the out-of-box service portal page index using clone page UI action, when previewed and the language is changed, a lot of the widgets do not translate? Hadn't noticed. Taking a clone of index and setting the language to French, I did add language picker to make it easier. As you can see, the header is translated. Yeah. But the homepage search widget is not. There's a catalog knowledge incident record. With out-of-the-box page, they do. That's interesting. Using the same widgets, can't see any messages on SysUI messages table about the homepage search widget that's required adjusting. Seems a bit strange. The only thing I can think of is you've tried it not in preview mode. That's what I can see at the top. You're looking at it in preview. Does it work if you're looking at it with... Hi, James. Have you tried the new copied page? Somewhere using the full URL, not the preview mode. I've seen odd behavior. Okay, stuff that doesn't happen in production view. I'll put that in quotes. Try the page with its normal URL. HTTPS, your instance, .servicenow.com, oops, / portal name, question mark, ID equals page ID. All right. Not an answer, but it'll help get closer. We have one thing showing up in the inbox. The decimal field thing. Oh, it got answered. What was the answer here? I had a hard time finding what changed here. Go back to the original code. ToString. ToString. Bar amounts equals level average comp. I guess I'll never know. I couldn't find the problem, and now I can't find the answer. That is an interesting thread. Maybe it's just my brain being tired. I want to add a field to track all the changes / revisions made to an HTML field. I don't want to use the activities filter. Instead, need a field that summarizes just the changes made to that field by whom and the time. Okay. Interesting. We just want the diffs. Let's see if there's anything here. No. Let's see. JavaScript. Difference between two dates. Text diff. Tool. Let's find out. GitHub. Pretty diff. That's a whole site. JavaScript diff utility, Stack Overflow. Make that a little bigger so we can all read it at home. Looking for a diff equivalent written in JavaScript. 10 answers. This one seems to be pretty popular. JS diff lib inline mode comparison. Try tweaking a context size. Well, I offer this discussion thread as an option. Are you looking for just the diffs between old value and new value? Or do you want the entire old value and new value stored somewhere? I found this thread on Stack Overflow, overflow.com, which might be helpful in implementing, oops, incomplete, implementing, darn motor skills. Found this thread on stackoverflow.com, which might be helpful in implementing a diff tool. Sure, why not? Okay. Coming up on the top of the hour, running low on things to look for. Let's just check the unanswered queue one more time. Where can we find how many business days in a week? Can we calculate it? Load data from Excel into glide list field. That came up before. What's your input data look like? I have a comma-separated users field in my Excel, and I'm trying to load into glide list field on my table using transform map. Below is my script. Okay, so they're splitting things apart by comma, it looks like. Source U vendor, ToString split. Final length, going through each element. See if you can get the person by name. If you do, push this. Get sysID, good. Return gr ToString, not quite. You got an array of sysIDs. You don't return it, because it's not. Oh, it is in. I see what they're doing. It's on the field. It's a script on the field. It's not working. I don't know that you need that on the source script. I generally don't use source scripts on each field. Have you tried something similar in the main transform script? To set target.u glide list field. What is the target field? U vendors. Source. Oh, that's the source table. Source. Target field was vendor management. Is this a full screenshot? Vendor manager. I'm going to guess it's U vendor manager. Find the actual text. I could modify it. Now let's do this. Our final equals source.u vendor manager.to string dot split right, I don't like GR because that typically denotes a glide record. Let's call it answer. Just for fun. Okay. And for I equals 0, I less than final dot length, I plus plus. I'm just going to shorten this up like I did on the latest tech now. Our user equals new glide record sys user. If user dot get name, was it name? I think it was username actually. No, username is user ID. It is name. That's the display value, I'm assuming. Final sub I. Answer dot push user dot get value sysID. And that's the end of that loop. Target dot u vendor manager equals answer dot join that. Try that, let me know. Fetch folder name from path. We got a requirement while fetching groups from Active Directory. We got information like group name, corp ABC XYZ name prefix, and then we create a new table to store groups and having fields like AD group name category. For AD group name is the same as getting from AD. For group name has to be like name prefix. And if AD group name contains XYZ, then its category should be XYZ. From GTK. This sounds like a case for some pretty standard JavaScript functions. You could split on the underscore character and get the various pieces. You can check if XYZ is in the string using index of. What else did they ask for? Assemble the right components, e.g. name and prefix and subscript. What would that be? 4 and 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 0, 1, 2, 3. 2 and 3 to become your name. Okay, recommended patch for Istanbul release. I am having an issue with list v2 tooltip in Istanbul patch 9 and the fixes available in patch 10. Can anyone please suggest which one is the recommended? I think we're up to 11 now. I don't even know if I have an Istanbul instance anymore. But where can I check? Would it be on high? Let's find out. Istanbul patch. ServiceNow release cycle enabled. Istanbul release cycle. Updated November 30th. Maybe there's some release patches in here. Slow browser, take a drink. Examples of the release cycle. Nope, not specific enough. I don't have information. If you want to upgrade, ooh, lots in the mailbox. Let's go clean that out before we finish this up. Hi, Vishnu. If you are upgrading your company's instance, you can go to the instance management page on high to request the latest patch. Pretty easy with the drop downs. If you are upgrading your personal developer instance, go to the manage instance page and request an upgrade. The latest release is available there. I don't know if patch 10 is still the latest for Istanbul. I thought we had 11 out a while ago, but haven't checked recently. Okay. All right, let's go look in the mailbox. How to summarize changes. Let's find out what Jason is looking for here. Thank you so much for reply. Yeah, I was only looking at diffs. We somehow sorted this. For now, we just wrote a business rule that would work on update of the field so that it would add the changed value along with the user's name who updated it for the current time. Okay, well, good. Glad you got it worked out. It's a beautiful thing. Got a like on something. Thank you very much. All right, I'll take a look. What did it like? Jason liked that. Ooh, 5 points. Rafal Rataj. How to list reports included on a dashboard. I want to know what the underlying requirement was. The requirement is to limit reports sharing, especially to everyone. And reports contained in dashboards are also shared. Wanted to have some overview on which reports are not used in dashboards and can be changed in scope of sharing with no impact. Okay, hi Rafal. One of the benefits of sharing reports is so you don't end up with multiple copies of the same thing. Report. What is the resistance? Sharing reports with everyone. Resistance is probably the wrong word. Objection. We need to get to the heart of the matter. Someone's not asking why. They're looking for a technical solution. That may be a human behavioral thing. Ganesh says, got it. Please ignore. All right. Enable mandatory field on change, except when changing from empty. Thanks for the quick responses. With set below, seem to have mandatory permanent, mandatory work note. Yeah, that does the opposite. If the script is running from while the form is loading, we'll put an asterisk on that. Or the old value is empty, make it mandatory. Didn't you say you didn't want a mandatory? Mandatory when changing from empty per the asterisk on change client scripts also run on load unless you add this little bit of script. Okay. That's going to do it for me. It is 7:15. I do have an 8 o'clock commitment. It's been a lot of fun today. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for watching. I encourage you to go over to developer.servicenow.com. Get yourself a pre-personal developer instance. And don't forget, Knowledge is coming up. I got to stick a... Knowledge is our big user conference every year. It's going to be held in Las Vegas, May 7th through 10th in the Venetian Hotel. I hope to see you there. And it's been fun hanging out. I will see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye.